A 4-year-old and a 6-year-old vanished from their home in a rural area of Nova Scotia. Their grandmother lives in a dilapidated camper on the same rustic property. 3 adults are home when the kids disappear. Mom, Malehya Brooks Murray, stepdad Daniel Martell, and Daniel's mother. None of the adults witnessed the children wandering off the property or being nabbed by a stranger. The similarities between this case out of Canada and that of Summer Wells are astonishing. Hi, I'm T, and this is Bed Crime Stories podcast. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Those are 3 ways you can help your girl. Siblings Lily and Jack Sullivan of Lansdowne, Nova Scotia have been missing for 11 days. That is extremely worrisome because they're only 6 and 4 years old. The police announced a few days ago that they were scaling back the search, and they also said there's little chance that the kids are still alive. Why is law enforcement so pessimistic about the kids so early on? Do they know something that we don't? Maybe. It is true that we're talking about 2 little people, probably not dressed appropriately for the weather at night, for rain, for cold, and they probably don't have water and food with them. Nova Scotia, even in May, experiences cool and damp conditions. I took a look at the weather in Lansdowne for the past 10 days. From what I read, the highs have been between 57 degrees and 69 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not too cold, but again, these are little kids without layers of clothing on, without layers of fat, and it's been damp and rainy. The lows ranged from 34 degrees to 53 degrees Fahrenheit. Little kids with small body mass can suffer hypothermia under these temperatures, especially when it rains, and it has rained. So perhaps these weather conditions are driving law enforcement's pessimism, but I'm noticing red flags in the mom and the stepdad's behavior and words. This is making me question their narrative. For example, the mother has deleted her Facebook. Why? She's also blocked her partner, Daniel Martell, and is staying with her family away from the home where the kids were living. These are all troubling behaviors for a mother of 2 missing kids. Parents of missing children who don't know where their kids are tend to stay put at the family home. They don't want to be anywhere else unless they're searching. They also should not be out shopping for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know who I'm talking about. The mother has stated that neither Lily nor Jack is afraid of strangers, which she believes makes them more likely to engage with people they don't know. To me, this could be the mom pushing her narrative of the kids being taken. But the police have dismissed the abduction theory for some reason, and yet the mom and the stepdad keep pushing it. Visions of Dawn and Candace Wells. Now, a teacher who worked with both Lily and Jack described them as low verbal. The teacher may be saying that the kids speak very little and or that they have a limited ability to speak. If true, that's a red flag. I did some research and I read that experts have established a clear link between delayed language development and child neglect. As I recall, Summer Wells was also said to have some issues with language. I read also that if a parent fails to interact verbally with their child, if the parent doesn't engage the child in activities to stimulate his or her speech and cognitive abilities, these can significantly hinder the development of a child's language skills. I'm a little worried that the low verbal thing could say that these kids may have been neglected. Maybe, I'm speculating. There are other explanations for a child being low verbal. These include a neurodevelopmental condition like autism, an intellectual disability, developmental language disorder, which is, according to the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, it is a communication disorder that interferes with learning, understanding, and using language. These language difficulties are not explained by other conditions, such as hearing loss or autism or lack of exposure to language. Being low verbal could also be attributed to hearing impairment. There are other possibilities as well, but I'm not going to cover all of them. Unfortunately, the mom and the stepdad have been saying things that are making people not feel very confident that they're telling the truth. The mom, in one of her interviews, floats between using the pronouns we and I. In the video I'm going to share with you, you will notice this. This makes me suspicious that she's telling the reporters a story that she and Daniel Martell made up. I also noticed that she's saying things designed to convey the idea that she's a good mom. I want you to notice when she talks about never allowing the kids to go outside on their own. That is essentially the mother saying, we are both good and vigilant parents. She also talks about doing things instantly. This may be her, again, emphasizing that she's such a good parent that when she senses something's wrong, she reacts instantly. I also find it odd that if the 6-year-old and 4-year-old were never allowed to go outside on their own, why on that day did both of them walk out the door without asking permission? Also, we've been told Lily had a cough. If the mom hears her kids up and playing, wouldn't you think she'd want to check on Lily and make sure she's okay? See if she's feeling better, see if she's dressed appropriately for the weather. And if the mom's too tired to get up, maybe Daniel, her partner, if he's such a good guy, maybe he could get up and check. But that's not what they do, supposedly. Also, the mom is very sure that the kids got out through the sliding door. But how can she know that if she can't hear when it opens? She tells us they got out of the sliding door, and neither she nor Daniel can hear the door when it opens. She also said the kids were outside playing. How can she be so sure they went out that sliding door if she and Daniel didn't hear it? And how can she be sure they were playing if she didn't hear it or see it? And if she's so vigilant, why wasn't the door locked? I'm assuming it was unlocked if they were able to slide it open. They live in a remote rural area. I would think it's important to make sure your kids don't wander off. Nova Scotia, from what I read, has an abundance of black bears. And again, if she hears Lily outside playing, shouldn't she get up and check to see if Lily should even be outside? They kept both of kids out of school supposedly because of Lily's cough, but then they don't get up to check on the kids when they say they were playing outside. Mom also states that the kids were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. Okay, then how can you be so sure they were outside playing? What makes you so sure if you didn't hear the sliding door open and you weren't aware of it at the time? Did you find evidence out there that they were playing? Maybe a sandcastle half finished? A mud pie that's still baking? The mom also stumbles on a sentence as if she's catching herself from saying the wrong thing. We saw the same thing with Katie Proudfoot. This could be a situation where her brain, which is designed to recall the truth, is thinking about what really happened, but she is trying to override her brain with a made-up story, maybe one that she and Daniel Martell concocted together. After telling us that the kids were outside playing, but she and Daniel weren't aware of it, she states that she and her partner woke up and didn't hear anything. Well, yeah, you already told us the kids were playing outside, but you weren't aware of it at the time. You told us that they got out through the sliding door, but of course you didn't hear it. Now you say the silence outside makes you worry because you don't hear the kids playing. Do you guys see how all of this is confusing and contradictory? I want you to also notice how she uses the word instantly. That word is used once again to show us that she's a good parent. She says, we were calling and looking for the kids, and I instantly call 911. I just had the instinct to call. If you're calling and looking for the kids first, then you didn't instantly dial 911. And I would think that if she were telling the truth, the story would go like this instead. We looked all around the house. We ran out and looked around the yard. We ran into the woods. We called their names, but we didn't get any answer. After that, I dialed 911. But no, this mom claims she was searching, calling the kids' names out, and instantly dialing 911, all at the same time. It makes no sense. She tells us that she woke up, but then she drifted in and out of sleep after hearing the kids playing. She didn't jump out of bed instantly when she heard that. What I'm going to tell you is this. Beware the parent who has to prove to you what a good parent they are. It's probably the opposite. This could be a neglectful parent or two parents trying to cover their arses, if you know what I mean. I'm speculating, but it's based on the nonsensical things the mom is saying and the dad too. If you enjoyed this video, let me know if you want me to do the same thing with what the father, or let's call him the stepfather or partner, said in his interviews. Smash the like button, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories.
What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They will speak to anyone in a store, everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids.